Great. So I have the privilege of actually moderating a very diverse but a really experienced and a rich panel. Before coming into this room, I was just chatting and learning about their experiences, and I could tell you, the time we have is going to fall short for the rich experience and some of the creative things many of my co-panelists are actually doing in their respective organizations. So without much ado, I'd actually like to invite my panelists to actually share some of the experiences they've had and some of the very interesting things they're doing in driving consumer engagement. May I actually start off with Rajiv, if you could just share the same.
Yeah, my name is Rajiv Nair. I actually head a company called Kaya Limited. It's not a traditional retail company. We are into the space of dermatology. We run dermatology clinics, which is skincare clinics, hair care clinics across India and the Middle East. So while the topic is about consumer experience beyond shopping journey, I was thinking of one particular example of how we've been able to change the way traditionally consumers actually interact with a company like ours. And we are into the consultative space. And our value creator in the business is actually a doctor. It's a trained, qualified dermatologist who is actually engaging and discussing with customers. How do we change this experience? It's basically a little bit of a top-down experience meeting a doctor, because most of us are little, enamored by the fact that you're sitting in front of the doctor and the doctor is actually talking down to you and condescending sometimes and telling you what you have to do, right? And ours is not really such a life-threatening space. It's more of a beauty space, right? So one of the things that we actually thought was that while we are looking at COVID and the years beyond COVID, we need to also integrate technology in a way where this consultation experience become a two-way street and not just a doctor, telling the consumer what she needs or he needs. So one of the things that we did was we used the time effectively during COVID to actually engage our doctors into a project where we used a trained AI expert, who studied in one of the premier engineering schools in the world, to say the fact that how we could integrate artificial intelligence into our business. So what we did was we actually created an aid for the doctor, which we call in simple terms an AI app, which actually integrates the knowledge base of the doctors for years together, using the images that they have stored pre-post of consumers over the last 5 years, 6 years. We took about 10,000 images as examples, and we actually made the doctor sit and annotate the issues on the consumer's face or hair on a screen, okay? And we actually fed that data back into an artificial intelligence tool, which now can not just show the issues on the consumer's face in the form of a tablet screen, where the doctor can actually show you what exactly is the issue, but also it can predict, okay, not very effectively at the moment because we need more data to be able to get there, to be able to say a pre-post version of what can happen if services are taken over a period of next 3 months or 6 months. What we want to do as we go forward is also fill in all the images of follow-up consultations that we actually do and actually say over a period of time to the improvement that we committed, to what extent has that improvement really happened. Now that's a little risky because sometimes these things can be subjective and people's expectations can be quite a bit, but it actually puts more intent to the promise that we are trying to make in our business, and using technology to be able to do it. Now what it does for the doctor is that it also prescribes the services that she can recommend to the customer, because sometimes we have 600 different services. Now the doctor may not remember offhand what exactly she should be recommending. Of course, she has a choice to decide what is right, what is wrong. It also recommends all the products that we sell that she can possibly recommend to the customer. Now today, for example, we started off with certain areas like acne, pigmentation and stuff like that. But going forward, we'll look at areas like anti-aging and stuff and build more and more into this. Over a period of time, we think this will be a proprietary tool that we can, who knows, offer to all the doctors around the country who can probably use it on a SaaS kind of a platform. But at this moment, I would say it's a very early stage. It's been a last 1 year journey. But that's something that we have done. Another thing that I think we were discussing was, what are the other moments that you can talk about for customers? And moments marketing as example. We took few examples of things like we did a full campaign in this last quarter, which was about brides of Kaya. So what we did actually was, if you see our social media campaign, we actually got live brides going through the entire discovery process of their wedding and actually their journey with our brand, and then their testimonials in terms of, and all the people that we used there were real life people, right? And saying the fact that how did that journey happen and what are their testimonials looking like. We took a lot of customer testimonials as well and put it up online during that period. And last but not the least, we said, beauty cannot be the standard of only the rich and the famous and the movie stars and whatever. So what we should do is that we should craft a sort of purpose which should be different from that of the same, which is democratizing beauty. We call it Kaya Beautiful is You. And we actually did a complete campaign about the fact that, you know, anybody can achieve a beauty potential of what he thinks, and that's where the brand should come into play. So we did transgender campaigns, we did quite a few things which are very well appreciated, but of course, all the time when you do slightly controversial campaigns, you get the positive feedback, but also sometimes get negative feedback. So I'll talk about it a little while later. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that. I must admit the AI use case is quite intriguing. And quite imaginative. I would love to hear about that more. Moving on to you, Mr. Nagaraj, I think you've got years of experience under your belt, and you've seen, organizations like Walt Disney and even luxury, watch players. Could you share your experiences from those two organizations? Very different context, but I am sure our audience would have a lot to learn.
Yeah. Can you hear me? I will also include some examples from Baggit, which is also. I don't know, many of you may have gone to theme parks of Disney, the world class, and a family comes, the kid is very excited because it's a magical day for the kid, and you really drive and then park your car. You spend the whole day, and 8:30 when the park closes, 9 o'clock when the park closes, you really come out and you don't know where you parked your car. And there are some 20,000-30,000 cars parked, and to locate your car, it's a big problem. So what Disney did is saying that if this is a pain point, how they can really use technology. So if you could tell whoever is the steward there saying that, okay, I think I came around 10:30, 10:40, they will really know because they really let you park in sequence. So between 10:30 and 10:40, they will really know, okay, it has to be somewhere between L4 to, let's say, M1. So they narrow down, and then they really have a camera which basically they say, okay, these are the cars. You can really, instead of searching for 20,000 cars, you really search maybe about 70, 80 cars, and you can really locate your car. It gives you the coordinate. So the whole day magical experience could have been shattered if you have to spend 2 hours looking for your car. Technology, and with a little bit of foresight, can really solve your problem. Disney is world class in terms of providing consumer experience. I had an experience with Rajiv while he was in Shoppers Stop, how the brand basically comes to magic at retail also. The second thing is that there are various rides. Let's say there are 50 rides. You decide saying that, okay, I have 8 hours and I will really prioritize saying that these are the 7-8 rides I want to go. Many times the queue in may be big. So you go and then there are some 200 people ahead. Each ride can really take 20, 30, 40 people. So you don't really know how long am I going to wait. So one way to beat the traffic is you really buy a special pass. That means you pay a premium, which gives you no queue, which means you get priority. But if you don't want to spend money, then you would really you can really download all the parks, all the rides. It will tell you saying that from where you are currently, it is 2 minutes walk or 7 minutes walk or whatever. It will also be able to, like a Google map, it will tell you that this ride, the wait period is 37 minutes as of now. This ride is basically 5 minutes. Even though you have said that I'll go from A to B to C, you may really find that the most optimal use for you is actually go to C and cover A whenever the queue time for A is less. Okay? Those kinds of possibilities are basically now realistic because of use of technology, and they are able to predict how many of them will really come. They don't have to stand a queue because they got a pass, which is basically more like a separate queue for them. In the normal queue, what is the estimated wait time, and they're able to do. We don't even have to do high tech, as there are a lot of small things that you can really do. And one of the pain problems that they really noticed is that kids get cranky if they have to stand in a queue for 20 minutes. So they start crying, and then suddenly they see an ice cream vendor and they really want an ice cream. And you really you pay $2-3 to buy one strawberry ice cream. And then you have to really board the ride. And one of the simple rules is that you can't carry food article when you really ride. So the kid has just tasted the ice cream, and the time to board the ride comes, and the fellow operator says, no, you can't really carry it. The kid starts really howling. What does the parent do? Either you can really say, okay, let the kid finish, in which case I really miss, and the ride will really come after 20 minutes. Or you have to really, what to do? Disney has empowered all people who are basically controlling the ride. They have the discretion to tell the kid, saying that, okay, don't worry, when you really finish the ride, this ice cream will really wait for you. The ride may be for 7-10 minutes. Ice cream is not going to wait, it will melt. They just take the picture of the family, and the exit is probably some 500 meter away or 200 feet away, whatever. And they know that the ride takes 7 minutes or 5 minutes or whatever else. When the kid finishes the ride, there is somebody else waiting at the exit with exactly the same strawberry ice cream in a cone, and it is being presented to the kid. What does an ice cream cost? A couple of dollars. But the delight that the kid has, the delight that the family has, a possibly horrible situation of a kid getting unhappy, they are able to anticipate it, use technology, and really solve, empower people so that they can take all these decisions. Nobody is going to ask, saying that where is the receipt? Is there a signature from the customer saying that actually the customer consumed the ice cream or you ate it? Right? None of that. There are a number of examples like this. Because of limited time, I'm really going to... what I'm saying is that you need to really design your customer delight program. You need to anticipate what are the problems. You need to have a solution. You need to train your people so that they can execute the solution without fear, and they can really delight the customer. And you need to use technology to really support whatever solution that you're really. If you can do all of that, which is why $50 a head, which is 1 day entry fee. And even if you spend $1 for all of this, $2 for all of this, it is still worth it. The lifetime value of a customer in a theme park probably will run to thousands of dollars. It's worth doing all of this to delight your customer.
Thank you. From Walt Disney, maybe we move to something more upstart, something more young. All of us know what magicpin is doing, or some of us know what magicpin is doing. Let's actually hear from the team.
Hi everyone, I'm Naman, I'm the co-founder of magicpin. We do something very interesting. We send customers from online to offline. While the world is busy talking about online, we do the opposite. So why do we do that, right? We started this 7 years back, and the idea behind magicpin was that, look, in India, the retail market is $1 trillion market. 95% of that market or the consumption in offline is still offline. Even today, it will be close to 90 to 93. So over the last 7 years, it's gone down by 3%. And we expect, and I think it's corroborated by a lot of other data, this will not get to 80% anytime soon, right? So consumption in India will continue to be offline. Now, we do that and we do a very interesting bunch of things using data and technology. I'll come to that. But what are we trying to solve? We said that, look, in the online world, it's very easy to track your consumer and get your customer back to your store. In the offline world, once a customer goes outside the store, outside the retail store, there is no way to track that consumer, right? Because consumer data patterns are very, very dark. They don't exist in the offline world. And that is the problem that a lot of retailers and even manufacturing brands sit on, where when they spend for sending customers to the offline store on marketing, there's no way to get a closure of the loop or measure the ROI, which means there's no way to understand the efficiency of that spend. That's the opportunity we went after. We said large market, large consumption offline, which will continue, data patterns don't exist. How can we leverage data and technology to connect the consumer and the retailer and get the retailer to get ROI on every spend that they make? right? So and every rupee that they spend on magicpin, they're able to get a closure of the loop on that. Now, how do we do that, right? So on our platform, when consumers come, they can discover and save. Those are the two value propositions that we provide. So using data, and customers send us massive amounts of data. By the way, in a year, we get data worth 20,000 crores. That's more than 2,000 crores of data patterns that we are getting across categories from customers, right? Using those data patterns around the consumer's customer profile, their demographic profile, their consumption basket, their location, we target them and send them to the customer store. By the way, these are all users on the magicpin app. There's 1.5 crore of those users, and we target them and send them to the store. I'll give one specific nuance about, let's say, how we use the data and technology. Let's say a customer has walked into a mall and I'll use a Gurgaon example, an Ambience mall in Gurgaon, right? And we've got multiple partners in that mall, but we know that this customer has an affinity to buy lifestyle shoes which are, let's say, white in color. And we have Puma as a partner there, and Puma has, let's say, launched a collection of white lifestyle shoes. So we'll tell the customer when they've entered the mall that, hey, you should go to the Puma store and see the latest collection that they have, right? That leads to great amount of engagement in the customer's journey, and when they go to the store and shop, they can save as well. So in the customer journey, we've used data around their location, data around their consumption basket, their preference, their demographic profile, and got them to the store and possibly converted some percentage of those customers into an offline transacting customer. That is the power of data that we're using and technology we are using to engage the customer even pre-shopping. One other interesting way in which we engage, right? So we have search on our platform where a user can, let's say if there's a wedding you have in your family 3 months out, right? And you are in Delhi market and you don't understand which are the key markets where I can go and get a blue kurta or a sherwani. So you can look for, let's say, a sherwani, and magicpin would throw up options that Karol Bagh has 50 stores, Lajpat Nagar has 30 stores, Ambience Mall has 20 stores, and each of these stores, what kind of SKUs and products are available, are they in your size, etc. So a lot of interesting information is available to you sitting at home before you even step out and pay for parking, right? So those are very interesting ways in which we are using data and technology to engage the customer and get them to go to the offline store, having created a massive amount of intent before they even go to the store and close the transaction. And when they close the transaction, they send us a confirmation back. So there's an ROI measurement that we create at the end. One other interesting example I'd give is where we create customer delight as well. So because we know our customers very well, and we create these surprise moments that when a customer spends, let's say, 50,000 or 100,000 in a month, and they're of a certain good quality, and we know that they, let's say, love going out and drinking. So we, like, around their home, if there's a new, let's say, brewery that's opened up, we'll send them a 10,000 or a 5,000 rupee voucher of that brewery, right? Massive amounts of surprise. What we've seen that leads to is that those customers end up spending 25% more than the customers who've not reached those milestones. So very powerful in terms of how we are engaging our customers to get them to do transactions and also create massive amounts of customer delight.
I think we need to talk a lot more over coffee. You know, from moving on from magicpin to a durable brand, Wonderchef has been doing a lot of exciting stuff. You would like to share that with the team?
Thank you, Namit. Yeah, on this panel, I represent the durables industry, which is a different story altogether. Because when somebody buys a consumer durable from you as a brand, the expectations are sky high. The transaction does not stop at the purchase behavior. Post-purchase interactions are even more important. Being a premium brand, we know the number of our potential customers out there is not as much as a cheap mass brand. So each customer, it's worth her weight in gold, and that's how we treat them. We have about 600 products. We know that once a customer buys a Wonderchef product, experiences the product quality, they want to come back to Wonderchef. They want to try out other things. So the lifetime value of a customer for us is so much higher. And that's how we make sure we treat them. Now, how do we do that? Well, the answer could be digital, but my strong belief is that only digital is impersonal. And as my friend just said, from magicpin, their endeavor has been to create offline experiences and digitize them. We do something similar, what we also call phygital, because I am personally obsessed by consumer retention, consumer delight. And for that, I'll give you a little flashback that how did this happen? Why did this become my mantra? And it helped me create this brand called Wonderchef. Before this, one of the first major jobs I have had in my career was building a company called Sodexo. I built it from scratch in India. It's a French organization. I brought it to India, worked there for 12 years as a CEO, created a large enterprise. And there again, we were obsessed by customer retention. It was a B2B business. Our customers used to be companies. And one of the businesses we were in was catering. People know Sodexo because of the vouchers, meal vouchers, gift vouchers. But actually, the largest part of our business was corporate catering. Now, catering is such a business that nobody takes seriously. A company hires a caterer, food is not good, there are some complaints, probably there is no kickback being given, they will throw him out in 6 months. My obsession was we will be extremely careful in choosing a customer, but once we have them, we are not going to leave. Of course, we will not give any kickback, okay? But we will set processes that it will become difficult for the customer or the client to fire us. We'll do a good service, but sometimes that's not enough. That is the name of the game in catering. But there will be so many things, so many relationships at different level. Nobody did that ever before. As a CEO of Sodexo, I used to go and meet CEOs of IBM and Oracle and Microsoft, and they used to be surprised at this request because they never cared about who is your caterer. And typically a caterer used to be a guy with some bucket who will bring some sambar and some idlis and he'll lay it out. And here I was seeking an appointment with the CEOs of these companies. They used to meet me, we used to become friends, and the relationship used to start from there. And we instituted things like something which I'm very happy about, something called the Fresh Eyes Review. So basically sending fresh people into a corporate to understand where the shoe is biting, why is the customer unhappy, because everybody is unhappy with food, right? When you have the same catered food day after day, you can bend your back, but people will be unhappy. What can we do? So this Fresh Eyes Review meant a fresh person going and looking into it. Point being that we were obsessed by customer relationship. The same philosophy we have brought in Wonderchef, which is the single most important thing that has helped us create a premium mass brand in India. So what do we do? How do we take it phygital? Today, the customer explores, discovers a product online. We all know that. Somebody needs to buy a coffee machine, they want to buy a pan, they want to buy an air fryer, they'll first go online and search, what do they want to buy? So you have to have a very strong presence there, the content has to be top end, is the price of entry. Beyond that, they may come to a store, they may buy online. 30% of our sale is online, 70% is still offline. Wherever they buy from, we have instituted processes wherein the customer is motivated to register their product on our website. Once we have that, we try to complete the user journey. We call the customer and propose a demo at their own home. Now imagine that we have 250,000 customers every month, and we propose a live demo at their home, an unboxing experience to take it physical. Because once they meet somebody from the company, a representative of the company, they become the organization's fans. How do we do that? Well, that is thanks to a visionary thing that me and my partner, all of you know, Sanjeev Kapoorji, Chef Sanjeev Kapoor, we thought about this long time back, 11 years ago, 12 years ago when we were founding the company, that we need to create evangelists who earn from the brand and who stand by the brand. We created a women entrepreneur network, which is 75,000 strong, present in 2,000 towns of India. And these are the people whom we can count on. Wherever a customer is there in India, we can propose to them that, hey, listen, we will do a physical demo at your home. And any customer who is buying a product which is upwards of 5 to 10,000, they'll love it. They buy our coffee machine, the top one, which costs about 95,000 rupees. They buy our roti maker, which costs about 85,000 rupees. They're scared to touch the product. They like the promise, they trust the brand, but they're scared to unbox the product. Kuch kharab ho gaya to. So they call us for physical demos, and even for sometimes simpler products like a cold press juicer or a coffee machine costing 10,000 rupees, they call us, they want to understand cappuccino kaise banana hai, how is it different from latte, and we train all these women entrepreneurs, plus our own teams of course, into empowering them to be able to demonstrate these products. So this is one example of how we take our life from the digital space, complete the journey in the physical space, and then the after sales service is extremely friendly, is extremely giving to the customer, because we may spend 1% more than some other brand in replacing a product more easily than the others, but we charge 10% higher thanks to that. So that's been our experience at Wonderchef. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ravi, for sharing. Can I ask you a follow-up question? I mean, I'm so impressed with the 85,000 strong team. Even if it's, even if it's a side gig for them, how do you ensure uniformity of consumer experience at that scale?
Essentially, we are a product company, Namit. So the product has to be top class. That's where the story begins. The expectation is from the product. But yes, you are right. The experience with the trainer, if you may, is also extremely important. So we have a full-fledged training department. We have, let's say, we call them franchisees. So we have franchisees of this network, which act as our small offices. We have 200 of them. So we are well spread across India, and these franchise offices typically train these women and make sure that they are in the know of every single product, their technical features. We can't do it alone. So we share the goodies, we share the spoils with all this network. They earn from us. They sell also. Because once a woman entrepreneur, she reaches a home, then it becomes her customer. Then she knows how to convince this customer to buy from her rather than from Amazon or a offline outlet. So that's their motivation in this, and they earn from us as well.
Thank you. Moving on to one of my favorite purpose-driven brands. Let's understand what being human is doing in this regard.
Yeah, hi, I'm Vivek. I represent Being Human Clothing. So there are actually 2-3 things that I want to speak about. So we as a brand, firstly, why we exist. We exist to serve a purpose, to shape a life, save a life somewhere. So every time you consume a product of Being Human, you can be assured of the fact that there is a life being shaped of a kid, underprivileged by the virtue of education being extended to them, or a life being saved in some hospital for a critical surgery or complex craniofacial surgeries and so on and so forth. So we exist for charity. While we do that, the purpose of existence of the business is for us to raise money for charity. And that money can be raised only if we are right on the expectations of the consumers of today. Expectations of the consumers, which is what we call Gen Z and millennials. They believe in the purpose. Today, when you speak to the younger people, they want to consume products which are ethically sourced, better for planet, better for the people who produced it, and so on and so forth. That matters to them, and that's something which is sitting at the core of our brand. We take every single decision based on 6 values that we have, which is love, care, share, hope, help, joy. Something that doesn't fit into our business. When we have such a core and we're operating our business with such core, what becomes very important for us to be able to start communicating that. Start building a strong emotional hook with the consumer with communicating purpose. Communicating purpose has been done by multiple brands. Some people have done it using guilt. We don't do that. For us, communicating purpose is to build hope. To tell people that when you do something, there is something better that comes out of it for someone else. initial phase of the brand, we were a little quiet about talking about the purpose. Of late, we have started speaking about purpose. We talk about specially abled people. A lot of people call them, there's a term called World Disability Day that happens every year. We recoined it this year. It's called World Ability Day according to us. Every single store of ours has a person who's specially abled. Our store managers know sign language. These are things which exist within the brand. Not many people know it. We're using moments to tell consumers that this is how we operate. When you buy being human, you are, if you believe in the purpose, there's a reason for you to buy beyond the fashion, right? Post-COVID, so everybody thinks being human is Salman Khan's brand. Salman is the face of the brand. But when you speak to Salman, he has a very different real hero that exists. He says, I'm not the real hero. The real hero is people who serve the purpose. And there is, and you should check it out on our social feeds. We did a campaign where we shared what being human does to support people. And you know, that's a moving story. Do we take it to everyone? No. Which is where tech really comes in for us. Which is where we sharply target it to people who are interested in this. We do not want to take it to everyone and tell everyone, hey, this is what we're doing. Charity is not for everyone. We understand that. And that's where we are able to draw the line staying away from guilt. So that's one aspect, which is building purposeful communication with consumers, with people who are interested in the purpose. So that's one place where we use tech very extensively. The other place, which is a younger journey for us, in fact, as a brand, is being able to build seamlessness between online and offline retail. We can raise money for charity if we do damn good business, profitable business, right? There should be scale in the revenue so that I can do more for the charity. We started to realize that we can't operate beyond a point in this world of price war on the parameter of price and discounts. While discounts is a reality, consumer seeks discount. But like what Naman was sharing, convenience of discovery, convenience of availability. Our stores are live 24/7. And you do not need to just go to beinghumanclothing.com. You can shop what's available in my store on Myntra, on Flipkart, every single marketplace. And to share with you, the results are quite surprising. People do not necessarily, most of us believe that, you know, people go to Myntra and Amazon and Flipkart to shop for discounts. Yes, there is a lot of them. But there's a lot of people who want access to a certain set of products, do not have physical access to that. So buy online, pick up at stores. So BOPIS, which used to be a term of interest about a year back, is practically become a norm. We have people who place orders online, they pick it up at stores, all of that happens. We have seen consumers migrate to the brand.com. That's one thing that we were also discussing earlier in the day, that this is one brand, because of the purpose-led communication, people gravitating closer to the core of the brand, believing in the purpose, are moving on to brand.com. And that's where I get the richest information. I know the consumers far better there. I know their choices far better. And then what we have started to do is, we have started to retarget the right set of communication to people. Everybody doesn't need to know about discount. Some people need to know about new collection. Many times you do not realize that, you know, you have someone sitting in your CRM base whose gender is a woman, a lady shopping for someone else at home. But you know, when you start reading the consumption pattern, when system starts reading it, my CRM starts reading it, it tells me that, okay, here is a number of a lady, you know, this person is shopping for someone else in the family. Then you target the communication accordingly. So a lot of that is happening on our end.
Thank you for sharing that. You know, moving on from brands to ecosystem players, you know, let's hear what malls are doing more, you know, to reinvent the whole consumer experience. We often hear the words retail, therapy, or entertainment. Let's actually hear how you're bringing this to life.
So we are primarily in the business of creating infrastructure. Infrastructure to pull people out of their homes, to engage them in certain social activities. And over the years, we are witnessing that the whole creation of our infrastructure business is shifting from creating shopping centers to creating more social spaces. I can share one of the possibilities that we were working on in a very large mixed-use development. The key part of the master plan for that mixed-use development was 800-meter long green stretch, which ran through the periphery of the mall to the offices, school, residential that we were making. And among this entire master planning that we were looking at, block planning to understand whether we can do this development or not, everybody got so excited about that green strip, which ran through and through, that at one stage when the traffic was conflicting with the green strip, we all took the call that we will have an underpass, we will not touch the green strip, right? So to an extent, the purpose or the designing of infrastructure is moving from efficiency to a more experience. It is more to do with let people come, feel happy, be engaged, and the shopping will happen. The way we are marketing, that is changing because we are looking at more engagement, more experiences. The way we are designing future projects, that is engaging right away from the design stage to say, is this a social space? The social space is coming first in the design phase, then coming the efficiency of the real estate and the corridors and the space sizes. One of the projects that we are going to start constructing in a couple of months, I think the key highlight there will be a jogging track around the mall. I think 1,800-meter long jogging track, and that eats up a lot of parking space, which I otherwise statutorily have to provide. And for that, then we have to create infrastructure to provide parkings. But then we felt that the city that we are going to make this development, and people love to come out in the morning, and we see them flooding the roads. The city blocks a certain section of the road so that the public can have their walks and all. So when we were discussing with our architect, we said we have a large opportunity to create the jogging track around it. So while we were thinking of the size of the mall, how many stores, how many anchors, things on the social side became far more clearer, far upfront, that the jogging track is required. The trees that we have in the plot, how can we retain them? So we are actually cutting building from one side to retain certain trees and create environment around it. So the whole experiential part in our journey, the engagement for consumer to come out of home, not only for shopping, but to have good time, is taking far more priority. This is reflecting in the future designs of the mall. It is going to start reflecting far more in the events and the marketing that we will be conducting. Is also going to show around in a lot of society engagements that we are going to take initiatives in, because marketing is not only going to stay focused on selling product or selling services. Marketing is going to now start connecting with a lot of purpose which next generation is looking at. So if next generation is looking at a brand and respecting it from the connect that they have for the concern for society, I think a lot of our events, marketing activities in and around our neighborhood will engage those kind of activities. And hence, there is a complete shift from hardcore shopping to hardcore engagement, social activities, social spaces. It would be nice to say that we don't create shopping malls, we create social spaces where
That's
shopping
a very
happens.
interesting way to put it. I mean, I would not have imagined having a jogging track in a mall. I mean, this is really a new way to reinvent the whole experience.
And we don't charge for that.
I'm sure you should. Tirthankar, as you've heard the brands talk about, the different use cases of how they are actually, or the different ways in which they are engaging consumers, as a provider of RFID tech to most of them, could you tell the audience about some of the interesting use cases you've seen brands execute well, both in India and globally?
Thank you. So just to start off with, I represent Avery Dennison. So we are a Fortune 500 company based out of the US, and we're the world's largest UHF RFID partner. We operate more in the background, and retail is one of the biggest adopters of this technology, and that's where we come in. And just to your question, we believe that every physical asset is going to have a digital identity, and that is the future, because with the digital identity, what you get to see is the entire life cycle of that particular product. And somehow digitization is, I think, indirectly connected to sustainability, which is going to drive a lot of how the brands sell themselves in the future. So this is something which is very important for us, and we take this very seriously, digitization in collaboration with sustainability. And just to give you an example, we have launched very recently our own platform with a very desi name called Atma.io. It's a cloud platform where we have over 25 billion items already in the platform, which actually tracks, track and trace, and also to monitor the sustainable, how it was disposed and things like that. So in that, one of our partners is Adidas, right? So just to give you an example, when somebody shops, let's say in Brazil for a pair of Adidas, and he goes to, let's say, somewhere in New York, for example, right? And he scans his shoes, which is already having an NFC tag. What the app will do is that it'll actually, based on what type of shoes did he buy, racing, jogging, or specialty sports, they would actually give push-ups of pop-ups of, for example, if you bought a pair of jogging shoes, they would recommend the best places for you to jog in New York, right? So those are, similarly we have done for multiple brands like Smirnoff, a campaign for different nightclubs and things like that. So it is something which is going to revolutionize the industry in the long run. It is going to happen, and digitization, I think, is something which we'll see a much faster adoption in India compared to the other regions, because we are very good in adopting, the technology. For example, in banking, I think we are way ahead of the rest of the world. No one even comes close to us. So something very similar is going to happen, and especially in retail, where all the big brands in the world, be it H&M, Marks & Spencer, Uniqlo, all use this technology, and some point, the advantages of this technology is going to show in this country soon. Yeah.
So, all of you talked about technology and digital having many advantages and giving real value to the business. I'm sure it comes with a set of challenges. At the end of the day, you're talking about people adopting change. And may I go back to the Kaya example again? You talked about doctors starting to use AI apps. How easy was this journey?
Yeah, I think if we were in the banking space, or probably we were in any other tech forward space, I think it would have been very easy as a journey for any of the any company, for employees to adapt technology. I think what's the most important thing is, it's not about what you want to create as an ultimate objective for the consumer. It's about the employee actually believing in the kind of technology that you're trying to provide. In our case, I think we had that extra challenge of trying to make medical health professionals adapt to technology. Now, you may say that globally medicine has really become revolutionized with technology, AI, ML, and XYZ, hologram-based doctors. Everything is happening. But in India, I think one of the biggest things is the fact that I think medical field to a large extent has remained a little devoid of technology, barring the fact that fantastically advanced equipments are available today. I mean, robotics-based surgery, stuff like that. But the basic doctor who is around your corner is actually not adapted technology much. It takes a lot of effort for many companies to try and make one doctor take that one app and start using it. I was told by one of the companies that it takes about 90,000 rupees to get one doctor to start using an app that they are trying to sell. Okay, I don't want to name the company, but we didn't have to do all of that, because what we said was we kept the creator of that value at the center of the development. So the entire development was done with the doctors brought into play. In fact, they were the guys who were actually working on this entire project, as I said, during the time of COVID. So a lot of them directly got involved in this particular technology. In fact, all the nuts and bolts of that technology was something that they created ground up. And also, maybe it's the field of interest, and I think all of them know the future of the world is actually going to be towards technology. I think there is, but is it so simple that you launch something and as newer and newer people keep coming into the organization, they start doing it? I think it's a matter of communicating that purpose or vision to the entire organization. I think the core of customer service is the fact that, like somebody said, I'm obsessed with customer service. Now that obsession cannot be at the head of the organization, but that obsession should transfer through rituals or modes or any other method to every member of the organization. So I think, believe you me, as a CEO of the company, I'm actually interacting with 80 doctors every week on a Friday, every week, at 9:30 in the morning, where we are discussing the adoption rate of the AI tool with doctors, and it's a very tricky one. Because at the end of the day, I think they have to understand what are we getting, what is the value that we are trying to create for the customer, what benefit are we seeing. Even numbers are discussed to say the fact that a customer without the use of the tech and with the use of the tech, what is the difference in terms of numbers that we can actually see. I mean, I'll give you a small factor. A customer who is engaged with pen and paper and only a conversation happens converts to the extent of maybe 55 to 60%. But a person who actually sees visually the impact on a screen actually converts to the extent of close to 75 to 76%. Now, it's only a matter of involving the consumer, but the value creator still remains the doctor. If the doctor doesn't believe in the technology, it will not happen. So I think even at the head of the organization level, we have to be able to engage every employee in the organization to say the fact that this is for you to help your consumer. And with this, you are creating value for the consumer. I think that's something that is there, and I think that's been the case. So if I have to say, change management happens to be the biggest challenge.
Let me actually pick that up. Naman, back to you. For Magic Pin, how did you actually do this with the offline retailer as well? How did you actually convince this set to, of course there is value, there is the ROI they are getting, but how do you actually break that barrier for the offline person?
So for us, I think it's been a journey. Overall, from a customer side first, right? There's been great adoption. I'd say over the last 2-3 years, because of COVID, is only going up. And as we are going down to smaller cities, it's going up. I think that's the big pull for the retailer. How many users do we have? I think the other thing that's getting very powerful is the data that we have. And that allows us to personalize very well based on location, consumption basket, the demographic profile. Our ability to personalize is just getting much better. Because of these two things, right? Our ability to have more users and our ability to personalize and communicate with those users based on data and technology, our influence on the retailer is improving. Now, if I go back, the way retailers approach this and used to approach it was to say, let's try it out, right? I think what has happened is that every retailer, every CMO, every CEO would love to engage with an interesting technology platform. And if they can create impact, they would adopt it whole and soul. So the good thing that happened with us is we built some good case studies. And there are a lot of retailers who are ahead of the curve and they'll adopt it, right? Those adopted us very early. And then it was easy to say these case studies have happened, try it for 3 months, 6 months, and then do more. So now we've got to a good point, right? Some of the large format stores like Shoppers and Lifestyle, we're getting to like 50 crores of annual incremental business we're doing. Even for EBOs or single brand retailers, there's massive incremental business that's going. Those case studies are just allowing us to keep creating this virtuous cycle with more users getting added. Our ability to influence the customer more with data and technology, we are able to get more incremental sale, and that's the adoption cycle is just improving now.
Ravi, you talked about obsession with consumer service, the whole consumer experience, right? And you're selling a product which is relatively high engagement. How do you ensure you're fighting the online pricing issue well? And how do you ensure you're offering consistency of experience?
Yeah, good question. First, I have a question for my friend here, Tirthankar. What will it take to convince every Dennison to give notifications to your customers that this is a bad restaurant, that is a bad coffee shop, go home, cook in Wonderchef pans, have coffee in a Wonderchef machine?
You can pass that question.
One has to see the low-hanging fruit always in life. So yeah, uniformity of pricing and consumer experience is your question. Well, that's a tough one because I think there was a time till about 2-3 years back when almost every brand thought that either they have to stop their digital journey or they have to shut down their business. Because there was such reckless discounting happening on all e-commerce platforms. Any distributor would put up a price, sometimes competition would put up a price on your product, just having one product, one single unit. Amazon or Flipkart would their algorithms would immediately match that price, and your brand gets killed. The profitability gets killed. Thankfully, these guys are running out of money, and that bad time is over because they're not being able to burn so much cash to feed the consumers free products, free discounting. The brands have also become smarter. Brands have also become smarter. They are also controlling it. They're controlling their distributors more strongly. There are processes on these sites now. You may be a gold member, you may have a transparency sticker and different kinds of things which help you maintain the price. So I would say the price story is now old. Now you have to be smart as a brand. Things are in your control, but still you need to be smart. That you use, to some extent, DMDC, different model, different channel. At times, you may have the same product being sold across channels, across platforms, online, offline, but you have to protect the margins for both, including your own gross margin. So I think that's a mathematical exercise, and one has to revisit it every month, I would say. It's not once a year, once in 6 months exercise. But the price story, the uncontrollables are over. Now you need to be smart in yourself. As far as the consistency of experience is concerned, I think what we try to do as much as possible is, even for an online customer, we try to provide the look and feel and touch for the product as if they are sitting live with us, which means a lot of investment in AR, a lot of investment in videos, a lot of investment in unboxing experiences, and we load these videos, we make sure we have YouTube channels, there are links available on our product pages, even on Amazon we have our brand store where all these videos are available. So basically try to make it easy for the consumer to make a choice.
Thank you. I know we are just about time. If there are one or two audience questions, we'd be happy to take that. Sure, please.
So, what you said about price, and that's very, very interesting because I operate in a category that gets heavily discounted, right? Apparel is one of the most heavily discounted categories in retail beyond the electronics, which happens anyways. So one of the things that one has seen over a period of time is that there were multiple models of operations when it came to digital commerce. And over past, I would say 3 years across organizations, people have moved significantly to gravitate their businesses where pricing is in their control, which is the marketplace operations really. Marketplace is not just the fact that it is on Amazon, through what seller you are selling it. Are you the seller, or is a designated seller, like I would take an erstwhile name, is Cloudtail the seller? The moment you keep the pricing power in your hand, price parity becomes simple. So I think it's more about having your own internal financial discipline that Ravi spoke about. I think the other thing which is today tech is giving us today is, pricing algorithms, markdown algorithms. Today your marketplace management systems suggest that these are the SKUs that are not selling well across portals at this price. You need to relook at that. So I think that kind of, we've seen people who have adopted that have been able to reduce their markdown significantly. But there are examples. I mean, I have not gotten there yet with my brand, but I think there's tech really enabling that as well. Yeah. So I think that's one thing that I wanted to add.
Thank you. It's been a real pleasure to hear from all of you. I think the wealth of experience and the breadth of experience you have is incredible, and this 1 hour couldn't do justice to that. Thank you for your time. Really appreciate it.